Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Cloud and AI Analytics. I'm Vignesh, and in this video we will continue to explore the next set of HashiCorp's Terraform Associate MCQs. And without any further delay, let's get started. So the first question of this video is, if a module uses a local value, you can expose that value with a Terraform output. Option A true, option B false. So now pause the video, go through the question and come up with the answer. So that's it. The right answer is option A, true. So in Terraform, a module can define a local values using the blocks called locals. So this values or this blocks, basically whatever the value which you define inside this local block are internal to that module and are not directly accessible from outside. So if you want to expose a local value or the value which is present inside the local block outside of the module, then you can create an output that references the local value. So this is a very common and a valid way to make internal data available to the users outside of the module. And moving on to the next question, which of the following is not a valid string function in Terraform? So in below options obviously. So option A split, option B join, option C slice, and option D chomp. So pause the video, go through the question and come up with the answer. So that's it. The right option is option C, slice. So except slice, all the other options are inbuilt string functions offered by Terraform. You can obviously refer that in the official documentations from Terraform as well. Moving on to the next question. Which of the following arguments are required when declaring a Terraform output? You should focus on this part of the question. Required when declaring a Terraform output. Option A sensitive, option B description, option C default, and option D value. Pause the video, go through the question, understand it, and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right answer is option D value. So in Terraform, when declaring an output, the only required argument is value, and the other options like sensitive, description, and default or optional values. And moving on to the next question, if a module declares a variable with a default, that variable must also be defined within the module. I'll repeat the question. If a module declares a variable with a default value, that variable must also be defined within the module. Option A true or option B false. Now pause the video, go through the question. This question seems to be tricky. Go through it, understand it, and then come up with the answer. So that said, the right option is option B, false. So in Terraform, if a module declares a variable with a default value, then it does not need to be defined when calling the module. It is not mandatory, because the default will be passed automatically if there is no value passed in that manner. And moving on to the next question, which of the following is not an action performed by Terraform init? So you have to note, like, not an action performed by Terraform init. Option A, create template configuration files. Option B, initialize a configured backend. Option C, retrieve the source code for all referenced module. And option D, load required provider plugins. Pause the video, go through the question, pay close attention to the question, understand it, and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right answer is option A, create template configuration files. So when you execute Terraform init command, basically it will initialize the backend. It will retrieve all the source code, like necessary plugin files, necessary source code. All those things will be retrieved, and also it will load the required provider plugins as part of your Terraform code. The only action which is not performed by Terraform init, create template configuration files, and the right option is option A, create template configuration files. So this question can be altered. If the not is replaced, right, then the right option would be option B, C, and option D. And now moving on to the next question, a resource block shown in this page. What is the Terraform resource name of the resource block? Here you can see resource Google Compute instance, and the local name is main and the name is test. So what is the Terraform resource name of the resource block? It is very straightforward and it is very easy. But still we will go through the options. Option A test, option B main, option C Google, and option D compute instance. Pause the video, go through the question and come up with an answer. So that's it. The right option is option C, Google. And moving on to the next question, what is the Terraform refresh intended to detect? Option A, Terraform configuration code changes. option B, empty state files, option C, state file drift, and option D, corrupt state files. Pause the video, go through the question, understand the options, and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right option is option C, state file drift. That is what Terraform refresh intended to detect if there is a drift in the state file. When does this drift occurs? Drift occurs when the actual infrastructure changes outside of your Terraform. For example, if you created a cloud storage bucket using Terraform code and someone intentionally or unintentionally created or modified any changes to the cloud storage bucket which was created via Terraform. So this makes the real world infrastructure different from what's been recorded in your Terraform state file. So that is where this Terraform refresh will help us. So it will update the state file to reflect the actual infrastructure, and it does not modify any real infrastructure, and also it detects drift between your Terraform state and real world resources as well. So why the other options are incorrect? Basically option A, Terraform configuration code changes. So this has been handled by Terraform plan and Terraform apply. And the next option, empty state files, is basically Terraform will usually error out or recreate them when Terraform refresh doesn't fix that. And the last option, that is corrupt state files. So you need manual repair or restore from backup and not using Terraform refresh. So Terraform refresh will be intended to detect if there is any drift in the state file. And moving on to the next question, which of the following is not a valid Terraform collection type? Option A, list. Option B, map. Option C, tree. And option D, set. So go through the question, understand the options, and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right answer is option C, tree. So tree is not a valid Terraform collection type. And moving on to the next question, all standard backend types support state storage, locking, and remote operations like plan, apply, and destroy. So option A, true, or option B, false. Pause the video, go through the question, understand it, and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right answer is option B, false. So not all standard backend type supports state locking and remote operations like plan, apply, and destroy. For example, some of the backend type like local, S3, GCS, so those does not support remote operations. Only Terraform Cloud and Terraform Enterprise support it. And moving on to the next question, you would like to reuse the same Terraform configuration for your development and production environment with a different state file for each. Which command would you use? Option A, Terraform import. Option B, Terraform workspace. Option C, Terraform state. And option D, Terraform init. So now pause the video, go through the question, understand the options, and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right option is option B, Terraform workspace. So in order to reuse the same Terraform configuration for development, production, and different environment with separate state files, then the appropriate command is Terraform workspace. So now we will discuss why the other options are incorrect. Basically, Terraform import is used to import existing infrastructure into Terraform. And the C option, Terraform state, is basically it is a command related to managing the state file but not for managing different environment. And the next option, Terraform init, basically it is also incorrect because it initializes the Terraform configuration but doesn't handle environment separation by state files. So the right option is option B, Terraform workspace. And moving on to the next question, all standard backend types do not support state storage, locking, and remote operations like plan, apply, and destroy. So this is the same question which you have discussed in the previous slide, but there is a minute difference, but that minute difference makes a big impact on the answer. So the first option is option A, true. The next option is option B, false. Pause the video, go through the question, understand the options, and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right answer is option A, true. Backends such as local, GCS, S3 backends do not support plan, apply, and destroy. Those are remote operations. Only Terraform Cloud and Terraform Enterprise supports this. So the right answer to this question is option A, true. And now moving on to the next question. So this question is a type of fill in the blanks. A Terraform apply cannot infrastructure. Option A, change. Option B, destroy. Option C, provision. And option D, import. Pause the video, go through the question, understand the option, and then come up with the answer. So that's it. The right answer is option D, import. So a Terraform apply cannot import the infrastructure, whereas it can change your existing infrastructure by applying the changes defined in your configuration file. Terraform apply can also destroy infrastructure if the configuration specifies resources to be removed. And the same, Terraform apply can provision new infrastructure based on the configuration, but Terraform apply cannot import infrastructure. For importing, we have to specifically use Terraform import command and not Terraform apply. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, please post that in the comment section. I'll take a look at it and reply to it as soon as possible. Please do like, comment, share and subscribe to Cloud and AI Analytics. And don't forget to click on the bell icon. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, it's bye from Vignesh. Happy learning.